My name is Raj Kishore and I'm going to today describe about RIPng. This is actually next generation routing information protocol, and this has been created basically to support IP version 6. So for IP version 6, I mean earlier two protocols, earlier two version of RIPng, RIP was supporting to version 1 and supporting to IP version 4. That was RIP version 1, and RIP version 2 was supporting to IP version 4 only. But in case of RIPng, it will be supporting to IP version 6 as well. I mean, this will be supporting to IP version 6 only. Okay, so here is the example. I mean, here is the definitions, quick definitions. You can read it out, and this has been described in RFC 2018. Okay, and in the next slide, let's see what is that. It is RIPng theory and comparison to IP version 4. So it's a quick comparison between the two protocols, that is RIP version 2, that was for IP version 4, and RIPng. So this is quick comparisons. It supports this, both are using UDP protocols, and there is slight difference between the port numbers. So our IP version RIP version 1 and RIP version 2 were using this 20 protocol 20 port number, whereas RIPng is going to use the port number 521, and these both are distance protocol, vector protocols. Administrative distance, that is the default administrative distance which is trustworthy of network, is going to be 120, and these both are supporting VLSM, some horizons, split horizons. Both are going to use the same technology like split horizons. Yes, again Poisson reverse is going to be applicable in both of the protocols. So in version 2 it was there, and it is in RIPng as well. So it is going to use the Poisson reverse and split horizons to avoid any loop. And again, in 30 seconds, this is going to send the periodically full updates in 30 seconds. And again, this is going to use in RIP version 2 and RIPng hop count. So the matrix was for RIP version 2 was hop count, whereas for RIPng as well, it is going to use the hop count. Right, and this is what actually making the limitations, and that is why it is not widely being used in today's network, because this hop count is 15 only, and if it is hop count taking to 16, that means the route will be considered as an infinite route and it will be dropped then. And RIP version 2 and RIPng both are going to be used multicast address, whereas the RIP version was using the broadcast, and that was a main drawback of RIP version 1. So that was eliminated in RIP version 2, and that is again the same technology that the multicast is going to be used in RIPng. And of course there is no function of broadcast in IP version 6. So there is no point to talk about the broadcast, but again this was already introduced in RIP version 2 as well. Okay, let's quickly check how to configure this RIPing on the routers. So this is the table which we already discussed, and configuring RIPng. So there are total 4 steps have been defined, and it is not limited to 4 steps. It's up to you how you define. So first steps, you will have to enable IP unicast routing in your global command mode. So we already know that for IP version 4 it used to be enabled, but IP version 6 it is not by default enabled. So you will have to enable first, then you can use you can go for further configuration. Create this route RIP process. RIP process in your router. So you will have to use this command now. There are slightly changes in the name. This particular configurations. This IP router RIP was earlier being used, but now it is going to be used this IP version 6 router RIP, and there is one addition that is going to use the name. This will be the locally significant to the router. And the third steps. So third steps is going to be enabling IP addresses on the interface, and the third steps you can consider is the first step as well. So you can configure IP address on interface first, then you can enable IPv6 unicast writing, and then you can enable this router RIP. Right. The fourth one, which is actually important, and earlier with RIP we were using network command inside router RIP configurations, but with RIPng we will be not using any further network command. We will have to go to the interface, and then we will have to put this command IPv6 RIP name, the same name which was configured in global configuration, and then enable. So by putting this, it will enable RIPng on the router. Okay, let's quickly see the configuration of topology, and I'm going to use this topologist particular topology with GNS3, and I will have three routers, router 1, router 2, and router 3. These three routers will be communicating to each other, and we will have three loopback adapters on these three routers. These loopback adapters will be considered as a LAN. So this is a good practice when you are doing some testing or some practice, home lab practice. Then you can use loopback adapter instead using physical LAN, and you can do testing from one source to another source. So I'm going to use loopback adapter on all three routers, and there are total 5. Actually, there are 5 subnets. I'm going to use 2000:000/64. So the 01 IP address is going to provide to the loopback adapter. This will be LAN, this side LAN, and that's again 2000:000/64 for these two interface, and these two interfaces is going to be used this range of IP address, and 0003 is going to be loopback adapter on router 3. I will try to make communication between these loopback adapter, and let's see if it is working by using RIPng protocol or not. Okay, so here is the same topology. I have removed the switch. It is not actually required. It will unnecessarily use our CPU process. So I have removed the switch. I have 3 routers as I described in the last sections. All the interface are already configured with the particular IP addresses, and it is written there as well. Let's quickly check that. So IPv6 interface brief. So okay, serial 1 is having /1 IP address, and yes, loopback is having 0 IP addresses. Okay, so let's start configuration here. Configuration T, IPv6 unicast routing. This is the first step we need to perform when we are going to enable RIP, and then IPv6 router RIP, and give a local process ID, local process name as well. So this will be user selected string identification for this process particularly. It is going to be test 1. I'm giving it locally, and as I said that there is no network command now in RIPng, so don't use network command here. Instead, using that, you will have to go to the particular interface where you want to enable this this RIPng. So we will have to go to this particular interface and this interface, and then we will have to enable this particular RIPng processes. So interface loopback adapter, and okay, IPv6 RIP, and the at the router, the IP RIP process which I created, I'm going to put it here as well, and then enable. So this is the command you will have to put on the interface. And second, let's go to the serial 1 also, serial interface 1/0, and use the same command. Let's use the same command. Let's use the up arrow, and IPv6 RIP test 1 enabled. So my router 1 is now able to okay to advertise the 2 routes associated to this router. Let's quickly go to the router 2, quickly show that IPv6 is enabled on the interface as well or not. IPv6 interface brief, and I can see these 3 interfaces are having proper IP addresses. Okay, now IPv6 unicast routing is enabled. Let's quickly go to, now in this router I'm not going to create this particular RIP process in global configuration mode. Instead that I will go to the interface, and then I will create that particular RIP on from interface itself. So interface serial 10/0, and then IPv6 RIP, and I will give a different name here. So it was not significant to router 1. I'm not going to use the test 1. I'm going to use, instead that I'm going to use for router 2 that test 2 and enable. Okay, and similarly let's put it for fast Ethernet 0/0 as well, and enable by using up arrow, and interface loopback 0 and enable. So now my router 2 configuration is completed with RIPng. And let's quickly go to the router 3. So IP version 6 interface brief, and I can see my interfaces are enabled with the IP addresses. So 0/0 is enabled with fast Ethernet 0/0 is enabled with this IP addresses. Somehow this additional interface is enabled as well, and loopback. So loopback is enabled with local link address. I'm going to disable this IP address and will use. Now let me come back quickly. Alright, so somehow my router has older configurations. I have removed that, and so IP version 6 interface brief. Let me check now, and now it is having the correct configurations. 2.2:3 and 3:1 for loopback adapter. Okay, let's come to the configurations mode. So IPv6 unicast routing. This is the first command I will have to provide, and I will go to interface mode now. Fast Ethernet 0/0 IPv6 RIP. I will give a different name here as well. Test 3. In last enable. Okay, so let's use the first. I'm done with the configuration on one interface, that the fast internet. Let's come back to the loopback as well, so that loopback can advertise the route, and IP version 6 RIP test 3 enabled on this interface as well. Okay, so let's quickly check how is the routes on the routers, if it is picking up or not. So I'm coming to router 1, and so IPv6 route RIP. Okay, all right, here you go. So you can see that the 2000:0:0:3:1 is now advertised here. Now that the router 1 knows from here. Let's quickly ping to the router 3 loopback address 200:0:3:1, and source. I will keep the source this loopback address, loopback adapter for testing. So loopback 0, and here you go. You can ping to the router 3. So now I have connectivity configured between this to this by using our RIPng commands. I mean RIP routing, and RIP routing. This is the route. It has been learned from this router to this router using RIPng process. Let's discuss quickly about some of the commands which will be used as a troubleshooting. So first, you already have been checked about the route IP version 6 route RIP. So it will show you what are the routes has been learned. One more command which is very useful, IP version 6 protocol. So protocol will tell you that what are the protocols enabled. So this is the protocol enabled as a RIP test 1, and there are two interface serial 1 and loopback are enabled under this particular process. One more command, so IPv6 RIP, and somehow it will tell you what are the default timer to advertise this route from one to another, and this is the expiry time. So somehow if you are not getting the particular updates from the neighbor router about one of the route, then it will be removing in 180 minutes. It's really too long. It's going to be take 3 minutes of time to remove particular one route. Okay, let's use one very useful command, which is debug. So debug IPv6 RIP, and let's see what the processes are going on with router 1. Okay, I can see that that the process are going on, and that there are some sending and receiving is happening. So before, let's read out that and first unbug that first. So undig all. Okay, see that here RIPng is the process, and okay, so it is sending to the multicast address from serial 1/0 for test. This is the process, and the source IP address is link local IP address of this particular interface. One thing you will have to make in mind always, that it is going to be advertise their route using link local address. It will not use, however you have been given this global unicast address, but it is not going to use this particular address. Instead, that it will be using this link local address FE800, and it will be sending to multicast address, which is FF02 ::9, and whatever the interfaces are subscribed to this particular IP address will be receiving this routes, right? So again, this is what it is describing, like sending this particular route from this interface, and the route details are here. So whatever the route it has, it is advertising. Okay, so it has prefix this, it has prefix this, and it is going to send it to the this interface. Alright, so I think we are done with the testing, configuration as well as testing. So let's quickly review that what all we covered. So we already covered about this configurations and the topology, and we already tested. Before we wind up, I would like to say thank you everyone. Thank you for watching my video. Please share your feedback in comment line. Subscribe to my channel, like my video, and write in your comment if you want any more video to be any more topics should I cover and upload, right? So do subscribe my channel so that you can keep getting any further video if I'm recording too, right? Thank you everyone. Thank you for watching it.